What's up, guys? My name is Jedicut5 and welcome to the Chelsea versus Aston Villa preview, where Chelsea take on Aston Villa in a 1:30 kickoff at Stamford Bridge tomorrow afternoon. Before we go into this preview, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. If you're a football fan or if you're a Chelsea fan, make sure you put your comments down below. Make sure you give me my thoughts of what you think of what could happen in this particular fixture. It'll be really appreciated. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free to do so, and it will really help me out a bunch if you are able to do so. So Chelsea versus Villa, a real tough game in my opinion, and it's going to be a very good game as well, because obviously in the fact that there's two decent sides coming against each other, and Chelsea are in some form, that's for sure. Chelsea can leap above Manchester City into second place momentarily due to playing earlier compared to Man City, who will face Liverpool on tomorrow, so that's going to be a massive game to watch. Also, we're going to be keeping our eyes on that as City travel to Anfield. Villa's form has been very poor, and I'll go into that in detail, but it's really strange to see. I mean, they've had a decent start to the campaign. It's kind of gone to a little bit of a stalemate, in fairness. They're heading into this game without a win in 7, which is really interesting to see. I know they had a big VAR call against them in their previous game against Juventus, but yeah, they're not in the finest of form, so I know that our home form hasn't really been the best, and I feel like we've definitely been better away from home than we have been at home this season. But at the same time, I feel like in this way, they're going to be up for it because they're going to want to get a victory. But at the same time, they're going to be low on confidence. And if we're a team that's high in confidence and Enzo Maresca's got something going, then maybe we can be able to get a result. The football we've been playing as of late has been really fluent. It's been really good, and I feel like I'm not too sure if I'm speaking for all Chelsea fans or some Chelsea fans, but I'm enjoying watching my club again. I'm enjoying watching the fact that when I watch Chelsea, I'm going to watch a good game of football. And that's not because we're winning or anything else. It's just the fact that we're playing good football in that. And we've had some decent draws where I've watched it and I thought, you know what, that was a good game. Or when we've lost or things like that, I think, you know what, we can take some positives out of that. And Maresca's really implemented a system, and I feel like he's really found his first 11 going forward. And that's really key to be able to have success within this club. And we're definitely in a better position compared to what we have done probably since Thomas Tuchel, in fairness. So the spirits are high. That's a good thing. I think our only thing that is lacking is our home form, and that's the only kind of downfall. But at the same time, we can definitely get a win in this particular fixture. There's no doubt about it. We've got the calibre to do so. We've got the players. We've got everything else. It's just whether we can kind of pull out the performance on the day and be able to get a result against a tricky side against Aston Villa. And I think if they're low on confidence at the same time, they could potentially park the bus. But they've definitely got the calibre going forward in the likes of Ollie Watkins, John Duran, to be able to get goals. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. It's just whether we will see that on the day. But that's going to be a very interesting factor in the game. These are the current standings. In terms of ourselves, we've played 12 games, we've won 6, we've drew 4, and we've lost 2. We're currently sitting 4th in the Premier League, which isn't too bad whatsoever, in fairness. I know Brighton have obviously played on yesterday. They got themselves a win, so that's moved them up to 2nd at the moment. But that all could change. That could all change, and we could be able to kind of get ourselves up the table. Brighton have had a great campaign so far. Looking at Aston Villa, they're currently in 8th, but they're only on 19 points, so they could actually, depending on the goal difference, leap ourselves. So it's a very sort of tight table at the moment. As you can see, from 1st to 12th, it's very, very tight. Even when you look at it from 4th to 12th, there's not many points in it, 6 points in it, and that's nothing. And there's so many games now we're coming into December where there's going to be kind of fixture changes and so on, where people are going to be dropping points, gaining points. So I always feel like December's a very crunch point in the season, because you can really determine your position from that point onwards until like the end of the season, because there's been many sides that have been leading in December that have been able to continue that on and win the title themselves. Mentioning Villa's last form, obviously they haven't had a win in 7, but this is their last 6, and it's quite clear to see their form has been pretty poor. They've played some good teams in Liverpool and Tottenham. Juventus, they were quite unlucky with the harsh VAR call, but at the same time they just haven't really seemed to be able to conjure up the form. And I did say this at the start of the season to people that I speak to about football and things like that, that European football is a massive thing in terms of you can either do it or you can't. There's teams that can play in European fixtures and still be able to kind of perform week in, week out in terms of their Premier League fixtures. But there's other sides that have come into the Champions League fixtures and they just haven't seemed to be able to do it in the Premier League at the same time. And I'm just wondering if the amount of fixtures, and as much as they had a great season last season, finishing in the top four and so on, and they're definitely a club that's progressing, maybe it's just a little bit too much for them and it's kind of come at a wrong time. I might be mistaken in saying that because and that's not saying and taking away that Villa are a poor side, because they're not. They're not a poor side by any means, and the momentum they've gained and be able to kind of be formidable in terms of form throughout the seasons has been just the progress has definitely been noticeable. But at the same time, there's only a select amount of teams in European football that can do that, as well as then go to their domestic games and win that also. And I feel like that's that little fine line. I feel like that's what they're struggling with at the moment. And I might be completely wrong, but I feel like if they weren't to have had European football this season, I don't feel like they're performing as bad in the Premier League, and I feel like they'll be performing a little bit better knowing with the fixtures and so on. In terms of actual form against Aston Villa itself, it's not been the best over the last five. We've only won one in the last five against Aston Villa, and that came against the FA Cup fixture in that 3-1 victory where Enzo Fernandez scored that absolutely sublime free kick. But yeah, looking at it realistically, the form on paper doesn't look good. But this is where it could change. Aston Villa have come to the Bridge and they've had a few decent games in fairness, and that's where the two losses have come from, funny enough. But at the same time, I'm confident. I feel like we've got a different regime now. We've got a different manager, and we could definitely perform on the big stage and get a victory at the Bridge, as long as the fans are behind us at the same time and they can get some decent support towards the players and get something going as a side. Just before we get into the lineup of what I'll be thinking is going to be fielded tomorrow's game, the injuries are quite clear. Reece James still out. They don't reckon he'll be returning until the new year. Pedro Neto should be okay, but I think he's a doubt. I think he is a doubt. He's getting better, but I think he's a doubt. And in terms of Aston Villa, Anana could be back for them tomorrow, but Jacob Ramsey is out. So not too many injuries on both sides, but this would be my lineup. Robert Sanchez in goal. Enzo Maresca made it clear at the start of the season that Jorgensen was only a cup keeper, but after his performance against Heidenheim, I don't know why he isn't starting, because it's quite clear to see the better goalkeeper out of the two. But I reckon he'll still stick with Robert Sanchez in goal. Marc Cucurella on the left hand side. He's been pivotal in the inverted role on the left hand side. He's definitely been performing to his highest of highs. He definitely displayed that against Leicester City. Also, Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill seem to be the best centre back pairing that we have got. Maresca's stated the amount of love that he has for Fofana in terms of being able to come back from injury and perform week in, week out, even injured, and he's been absolutely sublime, and that goes with Levi Colwill also. He's a very humble centre-back. He's mentioned in previous interviews that he still doesn't believe that he's made it, and he's quite so clear that he's cemented his place within the Chelsea fold, and there's no reason why he shouldn't start alongside his partner Wesley Fofana. Moving forward to the right-hand side, we have got Malo Gusto. He should be okay. He's coming back from illness. He has been pitched in training, so I'd like to see him on that right-hand side. If not, I feel like they'll probably switch it to Tosin or Badiashile, but I would like to see Malo Gusto back in the fold. In the midfield pairing, we've got a bit of a debate there, because obviously we've been seeing Lavia and Caicedo, Enzo and Caicedo. I feel like Caicedo's a dead cert of who starts this. It's whether who's going to go alongside him. Personally, I'd go for Enzo Fernandez. I think Lavia's been really good this season, but Enzo Fernandez gives us that factor in terms of going forward for the assists, and that's been quite clear in his recent games where we've been able to kind of get amongst it. I mean, his last game he got an assist and a goal, so I feel like he contributes that little bit more compared to Lavia. There's no saying that Lavia is a poor player by any means, but Enzo Fernandez is a winner at the end of the day, and he's proven that. But at the same time, he hasn't been the best at his Chelsea career. But games like against Leicester really proves why he should be in the team, and I feel like he should be given another run out against Aston Villa. Moving forward to the attacking options, bearing in mind that Pedro Neto is injured and potentially a doubt. Obviously we've got many choices within that fold, but it's quite clear to see what his sort of kind of role is in terms of going forward. So we've got Cole Palmer in the middle. It's hard because I'd like to see Palmer and Nkunku together, but they play the same role, so it's one or the other at the end of the day. So you put Cole Palmer in the middle of that attacking fold. João Felix to the left-hand side. He was rested against Heidenheim. I know he came on as a substitute. Mikhailo Mudryk got a goal. Jadon Sancho got a couple of assists. So it's hard to decide, but I feel like in terms of the legs and the fitness, he'll probably go for João Felix on the left-hand side and Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. Did pretty well against Leicester, was pretty unlucky at the same time. Had an offside goal, so no reason why he shouldn't be in the fold, but I would would like to see some better performances for himself. And then we have Nicholas Jackson up top. He's been absolutely sublime. His conversion rate has been the best that it has been in the Premier League so far. And I feel like he's really silencing the doubters. He just needs to continue that with some decent form against Aston Villa. Lastly, here is my score prediction. Don't shoot me down, but I feel like a Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 1 game. My reasoning for it is because I just feel like we're not going to take our chances because we're coming against a good side and our home form has just been a little bit lax. At the same time, that could be completely different. I feel like we could win, but at the same time, I feel like we could draw. I feel like Villa could park the bus, get a goal and kind of sit on it. I'm not too sure. It's a bit of one of those games where it's very hard to predict in my opinion, as much as Villa have been poor in their last 7. But at the same time, I'm confident for the victory, but this is what I'm saying. It could be a draw. So I'm going for a 1-1. I'd love to see us win, don't get me wrong, and I'd love to see us win every game, but at the same time I feel like that run could come to a sort of end and we could get a draw, but we'll see what happens. I feel like they're going to be confident. We've got a lot of fresh legs going into it. There's been a lot of players rested, so with the right mindset and the right kind of performance we could definitely get a victory over Aston Villa, but we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see for tomorrow. I am going to the game, so bear with me in terms of the review, but we will have that up after the game. And that is it for this particular preview. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.